I guess you love movies. I do too. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Sorry it's been a little while, I think it's been about 2 weeks since I uploaded a video. However, it's been quite hectic in my life. I've had a lot of work, it's back to school. I work at Sports Direct, so there's a lot of children that want their school shoes, and I'm the guy that provides that service. And it has been crazy the last week. I've been doing a lot of hours, so I'm quite tired, and I haven't had time or really any content to create. There's been a bit of a lull in terms of me being able to watch films, new releases. Alien Romulus and Blink Twice are movies I want to see and want to make videos about. Dependent on if I like Alien Romulus, I may make a video on it, but I think I probably won't make a review. It will more be a discussion. Blink Twice, maybe a review coming soon, so watch out for that. But it is the end of August, and you know what that means. It's my month in movies. It's where I go through all of my movies that I've seen on Letterboxd with my phone wonderfully displayed in the video. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through the movies I watched this month. I was also in the Lake District for a week, which also made it impossible for me to make YouTube videos while I was there. So that's kind of why there's been a little bit of a delay in uploads and content. But there will be more coming soon through the month of September. Don't you worry about that. But let's get started for September with my August movies that I watched. Obviously, if you've seen this segment before, we do my best rewatch of the month, my best first watch of the month, and my disappointment of the month. So we'll go through that as they come along. So the first movie that I watched in August was Emily the Criminal, which is a pretty okay movie. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. Aubrey Plaza's good in it. It's an interesting concept about someone who's like completely down on their luck, has no options, you know, saddled by student debt, and decides that she's going to become embroiled in a credit card scam. It's an interesting film. It kind of loses its way towards the middle and end. It was okay. I didn't love it. It was kind of forgettable, but you know, Aubrey Plaza's good in it. The next movie on my list was Kindergarten Cop. Rewatched that. Unashamedly love the movie. Don't care. It's not the best movie ever made. Absolutely not. Kind of grew up on it. Not gonna lie. I still love Arnold in that film. He's hilarious, and I genuinely enjoy it. So judge me if you will. I do not care. Another Arnold movie, because I did an Arnold double feature on that weekend, and that is True Lies, of course. You know that I love that movie by now. Got it on Blu-ray. Was very, very pleased. The transfer is wonderful, and I enjoyed it, as I always do. Next movie on the list was also another rewatch, and was definitely not as fun. And that's Manchester by the Sea. No fun allowed. That movie is still as depressing as you remember. It's still really good though, but God, Jesus God, that police station scene still fucks me up like yesterday. Next one on the list is Bottle Rocket. Obviously it was originally a short film by Wes Anderson and became his first feature film. It's pretty okay. It has the early signs of the Wes Anderson style, but I kind of enjoyed that it was a little bit more stripped back in that sense. Luke Wilson gives a good performance in it. Owen Wilson is sometimes good and sometimes annoying, like in kind of everything. Has a central romance that I enjoyed, but it isn't focused on enough, and it feels a little bit fuzzy and unfocused in general. Not a bad movie, but definitely not Wes Anderson's best by any means. Next on the list is All That Jazz. Now, a movie I absolutely loved. If you want more detail of why I love that movie, check out my classic movie review of that film. It's a phenomenal anti-musical, delves deep into the depravity underneath the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and the show business industry. Roy Scheider gives an unbelievable performance, so check that one out if you have not already. I'll probably put it in the link description or at the end of this video. Next one was the last Scorsese short that I didn't get a chance to watch last month, the month before last, which was American Boy, a profile of Stephen Prince. Obviously, you will probably know Stephen Prince from Taxi Driver. He's lived a very varied and slightly illegal life leading up to that point. Why he gives such a brilliant performance as a guy selling literally everything in Taxi Driver, as you may remember. But it's a very interesting conversation with this man. He's very enigmatic, he's got a lot of charisma, and he goes through many different situations and stories within his own life. There's a wonderful and intense and anxiety-inducing story about him working at a petrol station late at night and a robbery that happens that's the best part of that short. I did enjoy it. It's quite good. It does go on sort of weird meandering areas at points, but that's kind of what makes it good and what makes it not so great. But it's probably my second favourite short on the Scorsese Shorts Criterion box set, behind Italian American. The next one on the list is my disappointment of the month, just to get it out of the way straight away. It was meandering, unfocused, kind of dull, had one really good performance in it, and that is Sex, Lies and Videotape. I know, everyone loves this movie for some reason. I really don't understand why. It has an interesting central concept about being filmed and how that relates to modern day. Is interesting. The movie doesn't concentrate on it enough. It spends most of it embroiled in melodramatic cheating and relationship drama that I just don't care about. And it may have been quite controversial and, ooh, that's a bit risky in 1989. However, in 2024, it's like, yeah, so what? Who cares? This movie hasn't dated very well, and honestly, outside of the lead performances, specifically from James Spader, who is excellent in it, and isn't in it enough, by the way, the movie's very disappointing. And to be honest, I'm still waiting for the Soderbergh that's going to blow me away. I really like Out of Sight, but out of all of his movies, to be honest, a lot of them have disappointed me. So yeah, unfortunately for Sex, Lies and Videotape, it is my disappointment of the month. Next one on the list is Dune. So I rewatched Dune. I got both of them on Blu-ray for my birthday recently. The first one, still excellent. Beautiful looking, incredibly technically proficient movie, very, very good. Still has its, anticlimactic ending that doesn't really feel like a contained story. And now you watch Dune 2, which I watched next, of course, as a double feature on Friday and Saturday night, as I do every weekend. I do a double feature. Dune 2 is incredible and an amazing film, and one I've talked about at length, obviously, in my Blu-ray video, so go check that out if you want more detail. But those two movies are awesome. Dune 2 is unbelievable, and Dune 1 is significantly better when you watch it with Part 2. So next on the list is And Justice for All, which is a legal drama with Al Pacino in it, which feels like, I don't know, like an entire season. It's like an outline for an entire season of a legal drama you'd see on TV, on American TV, but they decide to cram every single storyline into a movie for some reason. It is incredibly unfocused. Al Pacino is good in it because he's Al Pacino and he's basically good in everything. And there are parts of it I really liked, but it has like 6 subplots for some reason, and it really gets grating at points because you can't latch onto any one story. So yeah, this should have been like a TV drama, but for some reason it's a 2-hour film and you could feel it. Next movie on the list, we have Body Double. I don't get De Palma, man. Like, I love De Palma, I love Kerry, I love Blowout. Blowout is actually borderline a masterpiece. Fantastic conspiracy thriller. I might have to do a video on it at some point. But Body Double is one of his make a Hitchcock movie but worse movies, as I like to call them. I didn't like Dressed to Kill. The twist is unbelievably obvious from the start, and it takes way too much from Psycho, and Body Double is no different. It's Rear Window and Vertigo combined, and you're just like, I don't mind inspiration, but this just feels like laziness and kind of like, it just doesn't add anything to the overall source material of what Hitchcock did. It just feels kind of more gross and just not as good and not as effective. And when you're watching a movie and you're thinking about another film, that's not a good sign, and that's basically what I was like through the whole of Body Double, unfortunately. Next one on the list is an early Spielberg movie, Sugarland Express, which was middling. It was very middling. It feels like a very sort of like watered down Bonnie and Clyde type story. I was kind of bored in the middle. It's fine, but really it's quite forgettable. Next movie is The Last Action Hero, with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, which is a very weird movie because I feel like 10 years ago I'd have watched this movie and gone, wow, this was ahead of its time. And then when it actually came out, nobody liked it because they were like, what the fuck is this movie about a guy, an action hero that, a kid gets transported into a movie, it's so weird. And now, because we've had this meta phase of Marvel and Deadpool, I now look at this movie and go, because I'm now bored of it again. It's a very weird cycle we're in. But Last Action Hero is a kind of fun film. but it's way too long for the sort of content of the film, in my opinion. Next movie on the list is my favourite new watch of the month. It was a tight one between this and All That Jazz, but I've decided, as I've already done a video on All That Jazz, that I would talk about the Battle of Algiers a little bit. A phenomenal docudrama about the French-Algerian conflict and the revolution and the start of it. It's a phenomenally gritty, grounded film, but it has beautiful artistic moments as well. The way it expresses itself in these violent sequences is phenomenal. The score by Ennio Morricone, phenomenal as well. This is a movie that really grows as you think about it, and you think about the societal issues that we're currently facing and how it mirrors with this film, and how violence is perpetual, and how revolution, the toughest phase of it, is after, because violence can only take you so far, and when you've built a world on violence, when you've built a society on brutality, how do you evolve beyond that? And that's what the central themes of this movie are. And there's an incredible sequence of 3 simultaneous bombings, which is genuinely one of the most enthralling sequences I've seen in a film in a while. So if you haven't seen the Battle of Algiers and you kind of love that gritty, grounded, down-to-earth docudrama style, done to the nth degree, it's phenomenal. Go check out the Battle of Algiers. I couldn't recommend it enough. Next movie on the list, another great rewatch, was Drive. My favourite Ryan Gosling performance. I think when it's all said and done, when we think about Ryan Gosling's career, that is going to be the performance we think of when we think of this with this guy. And it's a phenomenal, quiet performance, and by far Nicholas Winding Refn's best movie. He's never got close to it, in my eyes. Next movie is Braveheart, a movie that I enjoy, but I have the same issues with it that every film bro that hates it has, because Braveheart's one of those Hollywood movies from this era that's it's kind of now fashionable to hate it, to say it sucks and it's awful and it's emotionally manipulative, and I'm like, it is emotionally manipulative and it is incredibly historically inaccurate, and for large portions I resist the emotional moments because they are manipulative, but there are moments that generally make me feel something, and Mel Gibson directs the shit out of this movie, and it looks great and it's well acted and it's well directed. And yeah, it's schmaltzy as fuck, but it's still entertaining. Next one on the list, Kingsman, Secret Service. It's really weird when you watch a movie from 10 years ago and you're like, wow, the visual effects are terrible. You don't quite realise how far visual effects have gone in the last 10 years, but I was watching the opening of Kingsman and I thought, this looks awful. Kingsman is pretty good, but it's definitely not as good as I remember. It's enjoyable, but it's definitely not aged well. The last decade has not done it any favours for me. Next on the list, and the first I watched in the Lake District, was The Big Trail, a 1930 western with a very, very young John Wayne. And you can tell it's from 1930 because they definitely have some issues with audio, the transition from silent to sound. You can feel that it isn't quite perfected yet. The wide shots, you can't hear hardly anything that anyone says because you know that the camera is further away, and that means the audio equipment is also further away, so you can pick up all the background noise and the people speaking. There's no filtering system, so it's very difficult to hear what people are saying. There are wonderful wide shots in the beautiful black and white, and as the movie goes along I actually think the technicality gets a lot better. Towards the end, the last few shots of the movie are actually really well done. The Big Trail is a grand scale. John Wayne is good in it, but he's sort of faltering at parts. This is his first lead role. But overall, I think the visuals are stunning, but the story is lacking. It's there's a lot of title cards still. It struggles to kind of keep your interest, but the ending really saves it, and I think the emotional impact of it's very good. So The Big Trail, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I think it's probably stretched out a little bit too far. I think it's probably an hour and a half movie that stretched to 2 hours for me. The next one on the list is Duck Soup. I rewatched that. Hilarious movie. Watched a couple of Marx Brothers movies actually. I'll get to the other one in a second, but Duck Soup's awesome. Rewatched Sunset Boulevard. Masterpiece. I've done a little review on my Letterboxd about it, so go check that out. Just a brilliant deconstruction of the superficiality of Hollywood and that era, and I love that film so much. The Killing I rewatched, Kubrick's The Killing, definitely not one of Kubrick's better movies. It's a solid heist movie, has some interesting aspects to it, but overall it's probably not one of his better films. I also rewatched Psycho again. Yes, I know I rewatched it a couple of months ago, but it was on TV and we didn't have anything else to watch, so why not watch Psycho? Because it's awesome. The other Marx Brothers movie I watched was Horse Feathers. I was dying laughing watching this one this time. I used to like Duck Soup more, but Horse Feathers made me laugh so much this time. There's so many incredible lines. It's like, it's mental, that film, but I love it. The football sequence, it just gets more and more crazy. Yeah, Marx Brothers are just timeless in my opinion. Next movie on the list, and that is my favourite rewatch of the month, and that is Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now is genuinely one of my favourite movies of all time, and I think I might be doing a review or my favourite movies video of it soon rather than later, because obviously Francis Ford Coppola is making his new movie, so I might do a review of that in preparation for that movie's release. But Apocalypse Now may be the best movie he's ever made. It's his most provocative, it's his most absurd, surreal, bizarre, nightmarish, and it moves me in different ways every time. It really is the greatest deconstruction of the death of the American dream that I've ever seen. As you delve deeper into the mind of Kurtz, you see the deep-rooted corruption inside America. What it was and what it has become, and what it will have to become in order to continue to be a world leader. You know, and that's what's so brilliant about it. The visuals, the imagery will never leave you. I adore it. It's one of the best movies ever made. I've got a review on my Letterboxd as well, which I'm quite proud of, so go check that out if you haven't already, and follow me on Letterboxd as well. But yeah, there's probably going to be a review coming soon as well, so look out for that. Next movie, Nope, I rewatched. Love it. I think it's, I actually think, say it quietly, I think it's Jordan Peele's best film. Yeah, I know. Everyone loves Get Out. I need to rewatch Us, actually, it's been a while, but I absolutely adore Nope. It's awesome. Next movie, Dungeons and Dragons. It's okay. It's kind of fun, but it's trying to do this Marvel thing where it quips every 5 seconds and it gets really, really boring after a while. It's solidly entertaining, the ending's actually quite good, but overall I was kind of rolling my eyes through the most of it because I was just thinking, stop quipping. Please just stop quipping. The next movie is Sugar, a great sort of deconstruction and examination of an immigrant moving to the US, but through the preface of baseball and trying to find your way in the world, and how, you know, you may have a dream that you want to achieve. You know, there's a character in the movie that says, baseball gives you one chance, life gives you many. And that's kind of the whole movie in one line, because it's not about making that one goal a reality, it's about knowing when to give in and knowing that, you know, you're trying to choose happiness in a different path. And Sugar was a really interesting portrait of a man who doesn't really know anything but baseball, and as he begins to realise that maybe not the path for him, he starts to realise that what he really wants is community, and that's what we all really want at the end of the day, is to be with people that love us and to be with people like us and to feel at home, and that's the most important thing. And Sugar's a great movie, really, go check it out if you haven't already. It's kind of a little bit of an unseen gem, I would say. Next movie on the list is Kill List, Ben Wheatley. This blew me away a little bit. This was actually really great. I'm meaning to do a review of it on Letterboxd, so keep your eye out for that. But this movie is shocking, brutal, violent, darkly funny, and super, super British, so everything I love. The next movie that was very close to being my favourite rewatch, but I just wanted to talk about Apocalypse Now a little bit, is Blade Runner. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. And then I also went along to rewatch Blade Runner 2049. Those two movies together, they just sing. Honestly, amazing. The second movie is a miracle because it makes the first movie better, and this really was a month of Villeneuve. I watched 2 Dune movies, and I also watched Blade Runner 2049. He's one of the best filmmakers working today, and he somehow managed to add to the mythology of Blade Runner in a way that made it better. And I'm so pleased to see that because those movies together are awesome. And they're still some of my favourite movies of all time, as you can tell from the tattoo on my arm. Big Blade Runner fan. So there you go, that's my month in movies for August. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and all of the movies that I talked about. So just to recap, my disappointment of the month was Sex, Lies and Videotape. My best new watch of the month was The Battle of Algiers, and my best rewatch of the month was Apocalypse Now. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, like, comment down in the section below, and subscribe to the channel of course. Follow me on Letterboxd for reviews of some of the films I discussed. And hopefully I'll have some more content coming soon, obviously some new reviews, possibly a Blink Twice and some other films, classic movie reviews, and my favourite movies will be coming to your screens very soon. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.